I just did 60 days of marketing. Let me show you what happened. Okay, the app's been out for more than 60 days, and in that period I've studied a lot about marketing and ASO, which is App Store optimization, and a lot of the different techniques used by others to help promote their app and get what they want out of the app. Okay, the screen I'm showing you here is the number of installs I have on active devices, which is to say installs of the program where people retained the program on their phones. If they just immediately deleted it, it doesn't show up. It shows up as a new install because someone did legitimately install it, but they may not have kept it on there. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they were unhappy with the program when they installed it. Sometimes that means that apparently there's a large group of people out there that even if they like the program, they'll only install it when they're going to play with it, and then they delete it, and then maybe later on they'll go back and reinstall it and then play with it and then delete it for whatever reason, perhaps for performance benefits or lack of space or just a way to keep their phones clean. I really don't know the answer to that question. I'm sure a percentage of them were in fact unhappy with it, but I don't have a way to distinguish between those two groups. At any rate, going back through history here, this is when the app first made it onto the first beta version. A lot of, in fact, a sale event occurred here just mainly for my beta testers to get a free copy of the app. A lot of beta testing, a lot of new versions coming out, and then finally a rollout release. So now it's public. And then I did a sale event. And this is where I got my first boost of sales, because prior to that, I just couldn't get new people in. I tried various social marketing methods and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, nothing really that successful. I mean, I was gaining a few people here and there, but it wasn't enough. Here I had a sale, so I was giving it away for free. And at this point, I had the Google AdWords campaign running. In the middle of this, that campaign was running. Basically, almost no sales even then. But when the product became free, this is kind of a follow-up from the previous video, I suddenly had a surge and increase. And then after that, I kind of just sat on it for a while. And that's what this is. I was actually losing installations because more people were uninstalling the app than were installing the app. And somewhere around here, it was in mid-June or so, I should get the exact date, but this is close enough. You can actually see the pickup here, is when I went ahead and made the app free. I decided that rather than go for a paid app method, I'd go back to the original idea, which is frankly, this is a platform to help me sell my physical Mancala board via either my retailer that I work with or through Amazon.com. Actually, that's through the retailer too, but selling the physical board that we make here in the shop. So sales started to go up and up and up and up and up. And we'll get some more details about some of the events that occurred along here because but as you see, it's kind of rising up a parabolic curve right now. It's going quite well. A few details about the campaign. I have a daily limit of $20 per day, but I came nowhere near to spending that. In fact, right now, it's at its peak of growth and impact. And it's costing me about $4 per day, which I'm not going to keep up for too much longer. I may let it run for another week, maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks, but then that's it, because I've already spent $214 on this ad campaign to get my first 1,100 installs. That's expensive. In doing my marketing research, I've learned to do quite a bit of keyword analysis. I've used various tools and that kind of stuff, but for this demo right here, I'm going to go ahead and use Overpass's ASO tools. Let's go ahead and find my current visibility for my app. And a few things to take a look at. First off, for Kala, I'm actually ranked number 2 at the moment. For that keyword. So if you type in the word Kala, I'll be second in the store. Now, I actually tend to go back and forth. I've been ranked number 1 numerous times over the last few weeks. So I go back and forth between 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, because I'm competing with another app simply called Kala. And their keyword focus is so narrow that even if they were a better app and getting more sales than I was, as a practical matter, they're probably going to be number 1 spot quite often. But I feel I'm doing pretty good by being in the number 2 slot. Probably a more impact on me, because you can see the score numbers and the traffic levels for these two keywords are very different from each other. For the word Mancala, I'm currently ranked 25th. And as a point of comparison, I was in fact starting out at 143rd. So I have gone way up the ranks. In fact, let's go take a look at let's take a look at a graph I put together. I wasn't consistent about writing down what my current rank was, but if you type in the word Mancala, this is essentially, where I am in the list. Because Mancala appears to be the most effective keyword for my particular app. So I've been tracking that one very specifically from the beginning. Here showing at an earlier measure point at 133rd, I was actually already 10 ahead of where I started from. Here's where I started the ad campaign-ish. That's not completely accurate. That's where the campaign started. As you can see, we actually had an initial rise in rank that was fairly rapid. This first step was fairly easy. Now this graph is a little bit misleading. It actually jumped even faster than that, and then kind of just wiggled here for a long time until I finally got an ad campaign going on that I actually started moving it consistently. And when that ad campaign was fine-tuned and started working, we started getting a fairly linear increase in my rank standing. Of note here is on July 13th, which is, I believe, this entry right here. I changed the title of my app from PS Mancala, PS standing for Purple Squirrel. I took the branding off of it. It's just simply called Mancala, and that actually had even just that name change, that one day, I jumped 2 points, 2 points of rank. But I've been doing a lot of keyword optimization on the description of the app. In fact, if you remember in my previous video, I was complaining about how Monopoly was ahead of me. Let me jump to the App Store. So I type in the word Mancala, and where am I? I'm number 25. There it is. Yes, 25. And importantly for me, I'm ahead of Monopoly finally. I have defeated Hasbro in the category of Mancala against the Monopoly game, so that's perhaps not as big a deal as I'm making it sound. I'm still behind Battleship and 4 in a row and Jenga, so I got some room to move. But Jenga, I've got my eye on you. At any rate, so overall, I'm doing not too bad. A lot of movement in the last 60 days. I have a rating of 4.25. I got 2 5 votes, a 4 and a 3. And ironically, the person that gave me the 4 is the one that gave me the very positive text review. No one else actually put any text in there. And overall, looking pretty good. So I'm going to be coming out with a new release of this app, and it's not going to be a huge release. I'm going to fix some minor bugs, of course, and I'm also going to be adding Spanish language to this. My original plans were to do 4 language at the same time, but I'm deciding I'm going to take a little bit of a slower take to this. I'm first just going to try Spanish as the next language, and working with a guy named Kraus1 on Fiverr.com. I'll put a link in the doobly-doo. He did a really good job of translating my .pot file for language translation in the app. I'm going to be upgrading the Kiwi library I've been using. Before I was using a development version because I needed some of the latest features in the library, but they've now released to a stable version. So I'll be upgrading my app to use that stable version because that's better off in the long run. Let me show you an A/B change I'm doing. Let me jump back to the Google console. Google supports the change to your store listing with A/B tests, where they'll show a different version of the store to different people to see what store listing works best. And that's actually kind of a nice feature. So right now I'm serving up 4 different versions of the store where the only thing I'm doing is changing the look of the icon. And give you a current look. This is what the icon looks like right now. This is what it's going to, or one of the tests where I just simply round up the corners. Because I'm told you're supposed to have rounded corners on icons, and yet I see lots of successful examples out there of apps without rounded corners. So I've not gotten a straight answer out of anyone yet whether you really need them to be rounded. But let's try it out, an A/B test. I'm also going to try it with a smaller logo, see if that makes a difference. And I'm going to try a version without a logo and see if that improves or doesn't improve sales. It's quite possible my logo choice doesn't make any difference. I'll find out and let you all know what happens. Well, thanks for following along. I'll put up more videos here pretty soon. I'll have a video coming out soon with some of the programming details of the new release coming out. I'll also be doing at least one more follow-up video for my marketing efforts. And I should point out, because this may come up as an early question, what percentage of my sales are based on the AdWords campaign? Now, when I first started the campaign, 100% of my sales were pretty much from the AdWords campaign. And when I say sales, I should call it conversions or installs, because I didn't actually sell dollar-wise any of the units. Actually, I did sell one, but that didn't amount to anything. All right, right now I'm about 20% organic sales. In other words, even though I'm getting about 40 new installs per day, 20% of those are, 8 or so of them would have happened now all by themselves, at least in theory. So even if I turn off the ad campaign, I'll now start growing all by myself. I want to push that number up a little bit higher before I turn off the campaign. It'll be a judgment call to make here pretty soon. Like I said, I don't want to spend too much more money on marketing than I have now. That was the whole point of marketing, is try to get that initial boost and push up so that the app could grow on its own over time. I'll also be adding a new item to the next release where I can actually track my sales, because that's actually kind of missing right now. Right now it's going straight to Amazon, but I have no idea how many of my sales at Amazon are actually from this versus from just the natural organic sales I'm making on Amazon, or more accurately my retailers making on Amazon. So I'll be putting in probably a redirection URL through my domain so I can control where it's redirecting, and I may point it sometimes at Amazon, I may point it sometimes somewhere else, but the key there is I have control of it, and more importantly I can count it. I can see how many redirections are occurring. I might even set up an affiliate link to Amazon so I can actually make a cut of the sales without in addition to what the retailer is paying me. I may try that out. At any rate, thanks for following along. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.